Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Jujo. Jujo is brought to you by Locomotion Games. It's for 2 to 5 players, ages 8 and up, and games are in the neighborhood of 30 minutes. Welcome to the island of Jujo, what used to be a peaceful place. However, there has been a dispute over scones of all things. What tea goes best with scones? However, things got really out of control when someone suggested donuts and coffee were the better path. Now it's chaos and the battle ensues, and it's up to you to take over Jujo and rule it. So each player is going to choose one of the 5 character factions. You have Pirate Penelope, the Queen's Guard, Soldier Sue, Dapper Dog, and Army Ant. And each character faction has 25 tokens with a matching color bag. And the thing about these tokens is that you're only going to be playing with 20 of them. Every game you play, you're going to pull 5 randomly out of the bag and discard from the game. Which brings me to the goal of the game. As you're placing tokens, you're trying to create runs. Several of your tokens are number based, and you're trying to create 2 or more tokens in a row, contiguous, that will score you points at the end of the game. Now, it doesn't have to be one long row of tokens in order to score them. You can have 2 or more in any particular order out on the board to score at the end of the game. They just have to be contiguous. Now, the other thing about the board is there are bonus points out here. So for every token touching that bonus point, you're going to get additional points for every row that you've created that meets that criteria. And depending on the player count, will determine how much of this board, this main board, you're going to be using throughout the game. Now we're set up, we played a 2-player game here, and it's only this middle section. But in a 5-player game, you'll consume the entire board, and you will be playing all of your tokens. Now, let's take a look at the different types of tokens. So you have number tokens because you're trying to create runs, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And on the back side of some of these tokens are some defense options, things like ambulance. You have a wall to help continue your runs if need be, and you have diffusers or bomb diffusers to help you battle against some of those big offensive weapons. However, a lot of these tokens are going to have an angel on the back, a ghosted image. And sadly, when you take hits in this game and you flip that over, it potentially is going to lose you points in your runs in the areas you've created out on the board. And then we have our big powerhouse weapons. We have our explosion, which if you place it next to a cluster of tokens, is going to destroy them all. Everything orthogonal, I should say. It will destroy everything. However, there are those diffusers out there that will prevent the explosion from doing so. Now, there's also cannons. Cannons can be fired vertically or horizontally, but they're going to take out 2 tokens, and you place them in whatever orientation you want. Again, this can be thwarted by those diffusers. And we have 2 other special tiles. We have forts. Forts have arrows on them, and you'll place them out next to a token you're trying to protect. However, the forts can still be attacked. And you have foxes. Foxes are sly and clever, so for every 2 that you place out on the board, they don't have to connect. They will give you 1 point at the end of the game. And so the distribution for your defensive weapons on the back side of your tokens. So the number 2 tiles, if you flip those over and you don't get the angel, well then you're going to get an ambulance. And for your 4 level tiles, they will create walls when they're attacked, which is pretty slick, and you'll still maintain your 4 points. Now, you also have the number 6. And on the back of the 6, again, there's angels that you have to be aware of, but you'll be placing these, you'll know which ones are where. So this is where the bomb diffusers come into play. Again, these diffusers will protect you against the explosions and the cannons. And then the 8s also have a diffuser as well. And then the 10 is just angels. It's a huge point pull, so the people are going to be gunning for it, and you got to try to protect them with forts and things of that nature. Okay, so that's kind of a rundown of the basics of the different tiles and things. Now, the gameplay is very, very straightforward. You're going to choose tokens to place out on the board. Now, you obviously want to keep which number tokens you're placing. You want to keep them secret on the back side, so only you know where the diffusers are being placed, and your walls that will protect you, and your ambulances. things like that. So you being strategic about where you place those things, because the other players are going to be placing their explosions and they're going to be placing their cannons trying to stop you. And of course you have the forts, don't forget that. Now it's going to go around in turn order. Everybody's going to play a token and you're going to keep going around. And when you do activate or drop an explosion or a cannon, you'll do those things immediately, activating or flipping, I should say, flipping tokens that are being affected. Now, you as the one receiving the damage here, if you know you have a diffuser, you'll flip that diffuser first and say, and then you'll flip the explosion to its ghosted side as well, as you have thwarted that explosion. Now, if you're placing tokens out and you don't really have any options and there's already an explosion out there and you have to place next to it, well, then you're going to take damage to your token and flip it. And hopefully, maybe you've saved some in reserve that are going to give you your defensive options. But sometimes you're getting up against the wall here and you won't be able to do that. And same goes true for the cannons. And so you'll continue going in turn order until you've used all your tokens and filled the board. Now, at the end, you're going to total your score and you're going to total up all your different runs. Again, remember, you're looking for 2 or more tokens in any one run. And there are some different varied rules that you could play with, like the longest run would only score, things like that. But in general, you're scoring all your runs. And you're looking for your foxes out there, because for every pair of foxes you were able to play, you're going to get 1 point as well. And the player with the most points is going to be the ruler of Jujo. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview. Everything you've seen here has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, this is definitely another one of those really family-friendly games. However, there's a fair amount of strategy here and a lot of push and pull back and forth as you're jockeying for position in order to gain as many runs and paths that you can with your number tokens. And don't forget that there's these bonus points out here as well that you got to try and take advantage of. All right, folks, if this looks like something that would be of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.